Hi everybody, so today I wanted to do an updated eyebrow tutorial. Now it's not going to show you guys how I maintain my brows, such as threading, tweezing, trimming, anything like that. It's really just showing you what products I use to get this look of a brow. Now I'm not ashamed of my natural eyebrow shape. It's just, if you can see, now this is trimmed slightly but not a lot. It's just that my hairs don't really grow in as thick as I would like to get me a pretty defined eyebrow shape to start off with, which is why I do a lot of more intense things to get my brows to look the way I want them to. So if you have thicker brows, you don't have to do all these steps. I just find that for me, it helps the actual products that I use stay on longer, and it also just helps get me more of a defined shape. So this is what I do, and I'm just going to start off. I don't have anything on my face right now because I personally don't like having foundation on first before I apply eye makeup, and then I do like having my brows on before I do anything to my eyes because it's easier for me when I'm concealing them. So I'm going to show you guys right now. The first products that I normally use is I normally go in with an eyeliner pencil, and this one is the NYC number 922 dark brown eyeliner pencil, and I'm not using this one today. I'm actually using a new product, which is the Quite Natural Paint Pot by MAC. The reason I got this is because I find that with these, yes, you can get a pretty nice precise line, but I find that it's more of a pain to have to sharpen it all the time, and it goes through so fast that I wanted to get something that's more in a pot form. Now I was originally gonna get just a regular gel liner, but I found that this one would work really nicely for me, and I find that it's just easier because I can also double it up as a primer if I wanted to. So I'm going to use this today, and the brush that I'm using is just a standard eyeliner brush, slightly thicker than an eyeliner brush you would want to use for eyeliner. So I'm going to use this, and first I'm going to go into the product and just dip it in. Don't need a lot of this product because I'm only using this to line the outer edges of my brows, and I don't conceal them or prime them or do anything to them because this is really what I use as my primer. If you wanted to and you find that your eyebrow products don't last long, you can use a separate primer, like an eyeshadow primer on top, and that will help them stay on longer. So what I do is I start in the middle, and the reason I do that is because that helps me get the most precise outer tail, which is where I really need the help. So I'm going to line right here and then go right on top and connect it. Once I have that, I'm going to start fading the color into the inner portion. Now I don't really fade and take a gradient. I really just align and fill in, just because I personally don't feel like the gradient look on me is something that I like, and it's just, I like this look better. If you want to do a gradient, focus more of your product on the outer edge and then work your way in, and that will give you more of a gradient, and then go in with a spoolie afterwards. So now that I have that, that's all I do for the creamy product. I don't like to fill it in all the way because I find that that can actually make the product melt throughout the day, since you're using a bunch of cream products on your brows and then your skin is warm, so throughout the day it's gonna start to melt and move, so I don't like to do that. Now for my brow powders, I have a couple. I have two MAC eyeshadows and then a couple drugstore ones. The MAC eyeshadows that I normally use are Brun, which is a cool tone brown color. Let me open it so you guys can see. Looks like this. And then I also have Embark, which is more of a reddish tone warm brown, which is also slightly darker, so for more an intense brow. For drugstores, I have the Jordana Brow Powder Duo in the shade Dark, number 3. And then I also use the Revlon Matte Shadow in the shade Rich Sable, which is for when I want a slightly more natural brow, because this one's slightly cool toned as well as on the lighter end of the spectrum, so I tend to use that for a natural brow. Now I tend to like these for when I do dramatic brows, so that's why I'm not gonna use them today, because I really don't want something too dramatic since I'm not wearing any makeup on my eyes today, maybe just a little bit of eyeliner. So I'm gonna use the Jordana Brow Powder Duo, and I'm gonna mix both of the colors, and the brush that I'm gonna use for that is the small angled E65 brush by Sigma, which is very thick as far as you can tell, compared to the other one. I like this for actually blending in brow colors, like powders. So I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to slightly go in with this product to fill in any of the gaps. Just like that. Now when I have this down, it really doesn't take that much time to get it to be filled in the way I want it to, since this brow powder is pretty intense as far as its saturation of color. So now you can see it's nice, but it's not as crisp as I would want it to be. So I go in with a separate concealer. I use the NYX number 04 beige concealer in a jar, and the brush that I use is the Sephora Professional Flat Eyeliner Brush number 16. So I like this to conceal my brows. And I just take that onto the brush, and then what I do is actually close the product and place this on the lid so that I don't have too much product on the brush. It just gives me a light layer for when I'm concealing. So I'm going to start running this underneath my brow, and this will also help clean up any mistakes if you want to thin out your brows slightly, if you went a little bit too thick on them. And then just like lay it flat to get a really nice, precise highlight. I like to bring it down really far because it helps with the highlight shade when I apply it when I'm doing my eyeshadow. I already did this, but I'm going to explain it anyway because it is important. I went in with a concealer brush. Any one that you have works. I use the F70 by Sigma just because it's pretty small, and my eye shape is actually pretty small, so I just like this and it helps me get it really precisely. But I just blend out the edge of the concealer where it is in contact with my lid, where I have that crisp edge that we created. I don't go in and like blend on top of that because that would just lose the edge, and that would just defeat the purpose of actually going in with that like really defined liner brush to create it. So I suggest that if you are going to do it, just try to get a really precise concealer brush because that will help blend it, but then at the same time keep that crisp edge. I don't go in and blend it with my finger because again I want to keep the crisp edge. And then another thing is I don't go in with an eyeshadow to set the concealer afterwards because I am going to be applying eyeshadows anyway on top of this. If I wasn't, then yes, I would go in with like a little bit of a powder and then set it, but since I am applying eyeshadows on top, I'm just going to leave it, and then when I go in and apply my highlight, then it will set it, you know, with that. So that's pretty much it for my eyebrow tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's pretty dramatic and it's not something that everybody would be a fan of because of the concealer trick, because I don't do a gradient effect, anything like that. It doesn't look natural, but for me, it's what I like, and I mean, it's my makeup, my face. It's something that I personally like and enjoy to do. But if you want, again, you can do a gradient brow. You can lose the concealer, skip that step if you want. One thing that I would suggest is actually do the creamy product with the powder product because I find that it helps it last longer. If you have pretty defined brows already and you just need to fill in a little bit, then you could just go in with like the powder product, but I find that these in combination with each other, when you are filling them in as intensely as I am, it really does help it last longer. So I would really suggest that, and especially the Quite Natural Paint Pot. If you are like my hair color, I really would suggest trying this out because it is worth it as far as it primes your eyes, and then if you're not going to use it for your brows one day, you can still use it as an eye primer for like a smoky eye. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will have all my social networks linked below. I will have my previous tutorial linked below as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. Happy holidays, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everybody.